Hey, my friends, it's Sid with Squeegeology, and as you know, my purpose here is to help you learn how to market your window cleaning business so you can have a bigger business, a better, better customers, more profit, more time, more freedom. How's that? Okay, a good friend of mine asked me a question about hiring, and I want to go into it just a little bit. He said, "What are some methods for finding and recruiting and training the right kind of people?" And I'm like, "Man, that's a big question." So what I want to do, I decided to make a video about it, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what we do. This is what we do. I call this is hiring and screening the 80-20 way. Are you familiar with the 80-20 rule? It just states that 80% the 80-20 rule says 80% of your results literally come from 20% of your actions. Okay. So that means that most of your time is actually being wasted. Okay. How encouraging is that? Well, it's discouraging unless you learn how to harness only the 20% of action that you're taking and discard the 80% of action that's not doing you any good. All right. So let me tell you a little story. This is what happened a few years ago. We had a good team going. We had 6 or 8 guys on the crew. 4 of them were headed back to college. So we got 4 guys that I know they're going back to school in the fall, and they're leaving me. And that means I got to replace them, and I have about 4 weeks to get that done, to get them replaced, hired, trained, and ready to go, because everybody's going back to school at the end of August, and our busiest month of the year is in October, and it is ridiculously busy. I mean, it's huge. So I need full teams, all hands on deck, and I need them trained and ready. So here's what I did to hire these places. I placed a bunch of ads on Craigslist. And have you ever advertised on Craigslist? Guess what? You get a zillion replies. People click, they just click reply to the ad and go, "Hey, I'd be perfect for your job. Hey, here's my resume. And so literally, I don't know how many responses we got to that ad, but in the first week, we had a whopping. I recall this vividly. We had 54 resumes. 54 resumes, and I read every single one of them. And I sorted them, and I sent a reply to every single person. The ones that I wanted to talk to, I called, and that was about 30 of them. And of those, I scheduled 18 interviews. 18 interviews. And guess what? Some of them didn't show up. I think I conducted 12 or 13 interviews, and I hired 4 people. And I happened to be weird enough to actually track my time on all this stuff. And this is what I found, my tracking. This process took me 29 hours. 29 hours. And when I saw how much time it actually took, I was furious, simply because I didn't have 29 hours to spare. I needed more people. I was looking to, I had other things to do besides spend all this time calling and returning calls and emails and yada yada, checking references. I needed a better way. So guess what? It just happens that I read a tremendous book. It was Perry Marshall's book, The 80-20 Rule for Sales and Marketing. I'm going to mess this up. Okay, 80 Rule for Sales and Marketing. And he had some information in there about hiring. And it doesn't directly apply to our industry, but I took enough application away from it that what I did is I streamlined the entire process of recruiting, training, screening, hiring. So here's what I did. I'm going to give you the brief overview, then I'm going to show you some screenshots or some actual resources that I use. So number 1, I placed the ad. But in the ad, I went from just a brief ad that say window cleaners wanted, yada yada. I put a long description in. It's a long ad. And guess what? Most people don't read to the end. At the end of each ad, it's some very specific instructions that people had to follow, because one thing that's important for our company is to have employees that can follow direction. So at the very end of the ad, it says, don't reply to this ad. Instead, call this number. So number 2 thing they did, they had to call a toll-free number with a pre-recorded message. It's a 3-minute message. And let's see, I'll go ahead and put the number in here. You can call if you want to. Don't leave messages, whatever. Anyway, so I had them dial 1-855 Squeegee.
That's pretty crazy.
Well, I'm running out of space here. And I misspelled squeegee to make it fit my phone number, but that's my little vanity number, 1-855-SQUEEGEE. And when they called that, they listened to a 3-minute recorded message. And at the end of it, it has some very specific directions. And guess what? I need people that follow directions, okay? And people that think for themselves. And it simply says on there, it's 3 minutes of me talking about the position and our company and our culture. And at the end, it says very specifically, leave your name twice, leave your phone number twice, leave your email twice, spell it out, and tell us a little about yourself and what you think you would bring to the company, why you'd be a good fit. Then when they leave a message, I get to review the message. Now I get a text instantly when they leave a message, so I know that someone has responded, and then I call and I listen, and then I go ahead and call them back. I do a 5-minute phone interview, and if I like them, I schedule up an interview. So I guess step 4 is phone interview. And it sounds like, we can move forward then. Number 5 is a live interview. A live interview takes about an hour because I get really thorough. And then number 6, if we hire them, they go through the training system and everything, but then we have what I call a 2-week working interview, which simply means at any time in that 2 weeks, we agree in advance that we're just seeing if we're going to work well together. If we like it, they can leave, or we can let them go at any time to shorten the process. And hopefully they make it through that. But it's a very stringent screening process that we use. And we do that, and I set it up where most of this is automated so that I don't have to fool with it. Now here's before I show you the actual resources, here's something I want to let you know. Number 1, I have no idea how many people that the ad actually weeds out because it's long ad. It weeds out, and I'm just going to guess, maybe it weeds out 50% of the people that would respond, or 56% of the people because I can't write well. Then we weed out easily 80% of the people that read the ad and respond, because 80% of the people will just go ahead and click reply and they send me the resume or they send me a note by email. It doesn't matter. I just delete. I delete those. I don't even read them. I don't even look at them. Why? Because they did not follow directions. And I must have people that follow directions, that are capable of being detail-oriented. That's a big part of our deal. So if they don't follow directions, they don't work for us, and it's too bad. Even if they were nice people, sorry. So most of the people weed it out. By the time they leave a message, we've got a really well-qualified applicant. At the end of that message, I usually, after the phone interview, then I'll interview about half of them. And if I interview 4 people live, then I'm probably, it's very likely I'm going to hire 1, maybe 2, 1 to 2 people. So here's what happens. Now, just giving you some numbers, when I first, remember the first thing that I did when I had 54 resumes, I spent 29 hours. Now my process to do the exact same result is down to about 3 hours. Because I've got the ads written, I just click renew, whatever, and then by the time I listen to messages and actually interview people, then we're looking at 3 hours, maximum of 5 to hire 1 or 2 people. Okay, pretty cool. Very cool. Now, let me show you some of the resources that we use. One thing that we use, here's I want to let you have a copy of my hiring and screening system. I'm going to put a link down below. The link, you can click on it and you go and you can actually get this document, and it outlines, it tells a little story, talks about mindset, and then it gives you an example of the ad that we use for a Craigslist ad, the whole thing. And I'll give this to you free of charge. Just click on the link that's in the description down below. But after people read this ad and respond to it, when they call and leave a message, this is the resource I use, iTelecenter. I guess COA Secure is the actual domain name, but I'll just log in and show you the back end of it. It's pretty cool. So I have set up where I can have 9,000 extensions. I think I probably only use 10 or 15 of them. If we get logged in here, I'll actually show you. So in here's the inbox, and I don't have any ads running currently, but I will show you what happens. People call, they leave a message, and then I go in here and I can click and listen to their message. Let's see if we can hear that.
Hello, this is Joe McNamer. I'm just.
Hey there. And so when I
listened
listen to the message that they leave, there's a lot of things I can do. I can rate them based on, but their ability to communicate, and I can rate them on. Let's see, their ability to communicate, the energy, and do they follow directions?
We were talking more about Father's Day.
All things that are important to me. When I get all that done, whatever, I lost my train of thought. I was getting a phone call. Sorry. So I use these tools to screen people, to screen them fast, and to save me massive amounts of time. And that's one way I apply the 80-20 rule in our hiring and screening process. Okay? So there's my hiring and screening system. I hope it's valuable to you. If you really want to dig deep in it, if you're a window cleaner and you have not joined Josh Latimer's boot camp yet, do that. He goes into this a little bit deeper, but especially there's a course that you can buy from a good friend of mine named Brian Haggerty, and I believe it's titled How to Hire Rockstar Employees, and it uses the same system. Okay, he goes into it a little more depth. One other thing I do want to show you, let's see, is I guess this is part B to our hiring and training. Well, maybe another time. I can't find it fast enough. I was going to show you our recruiting cards. We have special recruiting cards that, actually I can show it to you. It's going to be tiny. We have recruiting cards. We modeled these after the Apple Store recruiting cards, and it says something like this. It says, hey, you're awesome. And on the back, it says, you just gave us excellent customer service. We should talk. We're always looking for great people like yourself. If you are open to new and better employment, then give us a call. And it's got contact information on there. And so when I'm out and when my team is out, anytime we have somebody that's delivering exceptional customer service, or we see somebody that's just working hard, somebody that knows what they're doing, they're getting after it, the kind of person we would like to have on our team, we give them a card and say, hey, we got to talk. Man, you're killing it. And we love people like you on our team. So we're always recruiting. And just because that's so critical, I'm going to write it down. You should always be recruiting for your team. Okay? Please don't just wait until you absolutely need somebody to start trying to hire, because that's a recipe for disaster. And the reason why is because you hire out of desperation, which usually gives you substandard results or crappy results. Okay? So always be always be recruiting. Okay, I'm Sid with Squeegeology. Thanks for putting up with my lousy handwriting and my silliness. I really appreciate you guys. Please follow us on Facebook. And we'll see you on the inside. That's all for now. You guys are great. Take care. If you like this, if you find it valuable, share it, like it, all that good stuff. All right. See you later.